So I would like everyone to do a little thought experiment right now. Why did everyone want to play Classic so badly after we had seen 8 expansions that were all supposedly to make a better version of the original game? I think the answer is pretty easy. The game devolved. It didn't evolve, it devolved. It devolved into chores, it devolved into not playing with others, not having to interact with other people at all, feeling like your gear is meaningless and worthless, and going through to obtain mounts that probably you'll never get. That became retail WoW. And the list can go on and on. People who've played since launch, vanilla launch, remember a more pure time when these atrocities didn't exist. And then the copium for a more perfect Azeroth began. Classic was about reliving the original vanilla experience to the fullest extent. Hashtag no changes was in full effect. Classic was a success, especially for the first few phases, in my opinion. But after playing through the content, which several people did for their first time, it was enough for them, and the TBC copium was in full effect. They wanted more. But as we saw, raid logging became the norm, non-existent world PvP became the norm, and it devolved into kind of what we're seeing in modern day TBC and retail. As a result of this, the hardcore community, which has existed for years already in WoW and even longer in other games like OSRS, became bigger. It started to grow. There are a lot of non-hardcore players who loved classic WoW, and they wanted to revisit it in another way or another. And SOM was a way to revisit it, but a lot of people were skeptical, and for good reasons too. Having the same amount of fun would be difficult with content to revisit, considering it had only been 1 year since they'd played through it. This caused a major rise in the amount of players switching from classic WoW as designed to hardcore WoW. And hardcore WoW is just a rule set implemented by the community, which has been given a somewhat nod of approval by Blizzard by adding in an in-game NPC, which will give you a buff that will continue through till your death. The community now has bigger streamers like Summit streaming it almost daily, bringing in an ever-growing audience. And furthermore, with content creators and founders of the community like Cargos, it's destined to improve if you just check out this content or anything they're doing or working on. And now we have entire servers like Obsidian Edge dedicated to hardcore players. So a lot of you are probably wondering, how is hardcore that different from classic? It might seem like a major time suck and you're not going to have any fun at all, right? Well, for some people it won't be any fun, and that's okay. It's definitely not for everybody, but it will take you a lot longer to level, and it should. There's no brainless YOLO pulling, and if you're going to need to understand something, like any quest, even the slightest details are important to avoid dying. So let's knock out the obvious ways it's different as a hardcore player, as opposed to just being a player on a PvP server, let's say. As a hardcore player, PvP doesn't exist. And the only way it exists is if you're being mind-controlled as a lowbie into combat and being forced into PvP, getting one-shotted by someone 20 or 30 levels above you. So actually, I wouldn't call that PvP. I'd call that more like ego versus button. The next part would be the fact that battlegrounds don't exist. So you can't just go AFK and AV and rank up like that. You're not going to be able to cheese your gear. And if you do want to get the honor gear, I guess you could go try to PvP flag yourself in a city and see if you can Giga Chad some ranks or something. But good luck with that. If we think back to the points made by all the major streamers and members of the community when Classic was spoken about a lot, what were their major points of contention? I'd say it was too easy. We saw endgame rating finished within the first week of launch of Classic. Apes head down to Ragnaros, as well as Onyxia. I within 1 week. Season of Mastery released November 16th, which means in less than a week it'll be a month. And as of recording this tonight, there is a setup to do a first MC raid, but there's going to be no boss attempts, just trash. Keep that in mind, just trash. They've been preparing for a month to get trash done.
What's something with the stone?
Yeah, so.
Imagine being this hype to kill MC Trash, boys. It's so funny, dude.
I mean, no one has ever done this, so pretty hype.
They've been preparing for a month to get trash done. And this is much more in alignment with the progression of vanilla, which was what everyone was so nostalgic for at the beginning when we all wanted classic. Another point of contention people had was boosting ruins the game. You didn't have to invest any time into your character. You didn't have to understand your character at all. And therefore we had a ton of level 60s that literally had no talent set up. They didn't even have their action bars with anything on them. And they were boosted literally to 60 just to figure out what you even do with your class at that point. And I would know this because I did it myself. I had probably 5 level 30s all sitting outside of stockades that I just never wanted to level past that because I just didn't find leveling fun. It's just not rewarding. The hardcore eliminates boosting. It eliminates gold selling. And for the most part, it eliminates botting because there is no auction house. You're not allowed to use it. It also puts a lot of the PvP Andes out of the situation, but there are those people who try to still stay on PvE servers and somehow obtain PvP with griefing.
How? The heal didn't go off. I'm not sure how. What is happening? I'm so confused. What is happening right now? Why am I losing health? What is happening? Am I DC'd, guys? What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? What the fuck?
Hardcore gives you the real vanilla experience. If you're about to do a quest, you're gonna think it through. You're not gonna charge into groups of 4 mobs unless you're me, trying for the first time. Your life's on the line with every move you take, and as a result, you appreciate every little step you've made. Every level matters, every quest matters. Every mob you kill matters. Everyone congratulates each other for every level gain too. And this was something I thought that was so cool back in the day. And now that I'm seeing people getting like 50 grats for someone reaching level 10, I think it's pretty awesome. We've already seen the in-game NPC giving you the Soul of Iron buff. So in a way, Blizzard has already acknowledged that they're, catering to this group of people. Whether or not the Soul of Iron buff is a good or a bad thing is definitely a point of contention still, but it is a overall net positive, I would say. And they could also essentially implement in this new server an in-game version of the hardcore add-on that we have in the community. Take a look at the OSRS community. They've had the Iron Man since around 2014, I believe. Now, I don't play OSRS or any actually, but from what I understand, all of the major content creators in this scene are playing Iron Man, or that mode, and for good reason. A big question I hear a lot is, so after you hit 60, then what happens? You just quit? Is the scene going to be dead soon because everyone will eventually or not eventually hit 60 or quit? Well, there's 2 separate challenges going on right now. And one is a prerequisite to the other. There's the Hardcore 60 challenge, which we've been talking about, and that's getting your character to 60 without dying. And there's also a separate challenge, which is the Road to Rag challenge. Now, the Road to Rag challenge involves killing Ragnaros as well without dying. Some people can't handle the challenge, and that's expected. There's a lot of people that are attempting it, and a lot of people haven't even played Classic to the extent that hardcore might demand. It isn't the hardest game, of course, but not dying is a totally different story. Dying in the 50s is a sad but common occurrence and brings out the utmost desperation to believe you haven't died. But alas, you must go again.
Scattering this scattering mage.
Yeah. Locked. Fucking bitch.
He's out. He's out.
Oh no, I fucking LOS myself. I suck.
He's so dead, dude.
I'm charged.
Nice figure.
I charged
No.
this, I charged him.
I fucked it up.
I gotta give us a little more heads up.
I scouted that.
Sorry, I just made plays.
February, you could die. Hit him with your rank 14, dude. You're getting pushed. You need to run away.
Get the mages in the back. I'm rapid. I got a bolt to kill that.
Damn. I'm hitting the lock.
LOS nurse, LOS. I need a drink really bad.
I can scout the warrior for a sec.
I'm completely doomed. You guys need to get back in.
Finish him, Raptor. Holy
I'm
fuck,
plotting
boys.
killing Hunter. I'm sick of his bullshit.
Yeah, kill him. Fuck that guy.
He's trapping me. Can you just follow this? Or it doesn't matter. I'm dotted. This guy plays a complete pussy. It's so annoying. Warlock jumped.